And they say this with such entitlement to me that I think that's where a lot of men have a lot of these issues, is that, yo, no one has to pay for anything for you.
At all.
Are you a prostitute? What's up, world? Welcome back to Cancer Thoughts. It's your boy, Better Days here. Joy Taylor and Taylor Rooks have been going viral on the internet over the past couple of months for some of the nonsensical and hypocritical things that they say, especially when it comes to dating. And today we're going to be reacting to a video of them doing just that. But before we get into all that, I want to preface all of my comments by saying this. Ladies, to all of you out there who a lot of the stuff that these two ladies or ladies like them say is just as nonsensical to you as it is to some of the men, I want you guys to know that we recognize that you guys exist.
I can't even believe I'm having to say this.
The fact of the matter is a lot of us are just existing more on the internet right now, and your crazy sisters are just the loudest voices on that internet. So I want you guys to always know that we don't think that these people are representative of the entire female population, and we know that you guys exist, and I want you guys to keep that in mind when a lot of these videos are being made and a lot of them are being put out. Now, with that being said, I think people like Taylor Rooks and Joy Taylor are doing some of this stuff purposely because there's no way in hell that they can believe some of the nonsense that comes out of their mouth. But for me, it makes for good content, so that's why I'm continuing to make these videos. Now, we're going to get into this really quick, but before we get into that, you guys already know what I'm about to ask you guys to do. I need you guys to hit that like and subscribe button for more content. I'm trying to make sure as many people find this channel as possible, and the only way I'm going to do that is with you guys' help.
As with anything in life, it will eventually reach your doorstep. Now, it didn't come inside my home, but it got close to a friend of mine's home. It was in their home. The splitting the bill conversation. What do we do? The men, do we pay for the men? When do we pay for the men? It has happened. It broke my heart because, you know, Taylor and I pride ourselves on these not being our problems. And to be clear, they still are not my problems. But a friend of mine was on her dating journey.
They're not your problems because you live in a bubble where you're probably only dealing with some of the top men, and those guys got it like that. So you guys don't have to ever pay attention to anything like that because it's not the people or the circles that you guys are running around.
Okay. And she went out with a man twice. They had lovely dates. He paid for everything, wined and dined. Okay. 2 dates. On the third date, they spent a day together, ordered a bunch of things, had some drinks, had a good time. Really long day. So pretty significant bill. Let's call it a couple $100.
Okay.
Because she had to put her card down for this particular place. So when they went to pay, he was like, oh, like, you know, your card is down. And now she didn't speak up and ended up paying for the bill. They had plans for another date. He texted her the next day and was like, hey, like, I had a great time with you, but, you know, I don't really see a long-term future with you. And so I don't really want to waste like either of our times. Like, I think you're great, but, you know, I don't want to like keep our date for next week that we had planned. Which I think is like very respectable. Like most people just ghost.
I don't necessarily see anything wrong with what happened there. He paid for the first 2 dates and she ended up paying for the third one, even though she didn't think that she should pay for the third one, which just speaks to the entitlement of a lot of these people in that they just really think that people just should be paying for their presence or whatever, which to me is nonsensical. It's like me going on a date and just expecting the other person to pay to me is just something that's so outlandish. The fact that there are people in the world who actually think this
Baffles me completely.
But there's also the idea that, ladies, do you want equality or not? Because that's what equality comes with. The fact of the matter is men have been having to swallow this pill for a very long time. And now you guys are making a lot of this money as well. So you guys do have the money to put down.
So whatever. So she's talking to me about it. She's like, but he did like stick me with the bill. I was like, what are you talking about, stuck you with the bill? How did you leave paying? Like, she's like, oh, I just froze. So I was like, just text him and say like, oh, okay, well, cool. Like, thank you for saying that. Whatever. Like, had a great time too. It's 3 dates. It's not the end of the world. You don't even know this person. But like, here's your split for Saturday. There's no possible way you like he thinks that she's just paying for his presence.
Yeah, at minimum, just a split. Just like can you send me your split?
The issue that I have with a lot of these conversations is they're always one-sided. It's like, think about the nonsense that these people are talking about right now. They just said he paid for the first 2 dates in their entirety. She paid for the third one. Are you guys splitting the bill for the first 2 dates that he covered as well? Like, what? And they say this with such entitlement to me that I think that's where a lot of men have a lot of these issues is that, yo, no one has to pay for anything for you.
At all.
Are you a prostitute? Like, answer that question to me, because that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you can't even pay for your own presence and you expect someone else to pay for your presence, you're straight up a prostitute. And if that's the case, that's fine. I'm not here to judge. Just understand that that's what you are if you expect other people to pay for your presence and you don't even want to pay for your own, nor do you want to pay for the presence of the other person that's paid for your presence the past couple of times.
Taylor and I go to dinner. We split the bill. We got credit cards.
We split it.
Split the bill. That's it. And then we go about our day because Taylor ate and I ate, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not complicated. He got upset, did not send her the split, and in fact went and sent her the receipts for the last 2 dates.
You see, and this is why I think this just lends itself to believe, like, to the idea that a lot of women just believe that they are better than a lot of men, because there's no other explanation for any of the things that's coming out of their mouths right now. For them to pretty much walk you down from A to B to C and just all of a sudden go left to like F or whatever, is just like, what are you you just said if Taylor and you go out to dinner, you guys split the bill. Okay, but then you also said earlier he paid for the entirety of the first 2 dates. How does it compute in your mind to say, well, if Taylor and I go on a date or whatever, if we go out to dinner, we split the bill? How does it compute in your mind for you to think that it's okay for her to not pay for any of the first 2 dates, but then be upset about paying for the 3rd date and be trying to split that? You have to think that women are better than men, or men are like just second-class citizens or something for you to even have these perspectives.
It's the only explanation.
And for you to sit so smugly on these podcasts and say some of these things to me is just like, you believe in your heart of hearts that women are better than men and men should be paying for the presence of women, which spits in the face of equality. And some of these women that say this, mind you, Joy Taylor is a hardcore feminist. Okay, she is 100% a feminist, and she thinks we live in a patriarchy or whatever. Like, come on, bro.
Basically saying, like, I got the last 2 dates, so this one's on you.
This one's on you. 3 dates. Now listen.
I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna let you.
No.
Go
What are your
ahead.
thoughts? What are your thoughts?
So it's tough because I just already think this, like, who pays for what with the dates is so just like, I just like don't even always even have a point of view on it because it just feels so ridiculous. And my honest answer is I see both sides of these things. Like, I see him saying I paid for like 2 of the dates. Maybe it was your turn to pay for the date. I believe in splitting things. I'm not saying that a woman doesn't need to be wined and dined. Like, if a man is courting you, there's a part of taking you on dates and making you feel good and important and beautiful, making you feel taken care of. When I'm going on these dates, like, I am expecting that aspect of it. That's not what I'm saying. But if you are no longer going to be dating a person and you already paid for 2 dates, the idea of feeling as though you need to, show your love in that way kind of diminishes once you're no longer going to be dating that person.
All right, so everything she just said there kind of makes sense, even though there's some hypocritical aspect to it. But she said first there that I believe she's like, she doesn't necessarily have opinions on these or whatever. You don't have opinions on this and you don't like this conversation because you're never the one who's paying for these dates. So you don't necessarily want to even talk about it. That's number one. Number two, I think she made a little bit of sense there at the end in that if you believe in splitting things, great. This is just her little political correct way of saying that I disagree with you a little bit on this, Joy, but I don't necessarily want us to argue about it. So I'm going to say that I see both sides or whatever because I think a woman should be wined and dined, but I also believe, like, you can't believe both things. You either believe this or you believe that.
You can't have it both ways.
It's complete bullshit. I think you know in your heart of hearts, Taylor Rooks, everything that happened in this entire situation made sense. You just don't want to say that to Joy Taylor because you don't want to upset her in any way.
Right, but he didn't pay for his half.
I'm just saying he would say, well, she didn't pay for her half.
Right. The first couple of dates, she didn't pay for her half.
But the halves that she didn't pay for were with the intention of the courting and the taken care of part.
Right, but I'm saying now, but you're saying, but why is she paying for his?
correct.
Yes. And that
even-
I agree with. That I
and
agree
even
with.
this date, he asked for. Like, he asked her out. So
Yeah.
even this date was your plan.
There's this idea out there that whoever asked for the date has to pay or whatever, and I actually subscribe to this notion, but I've been on dates in the past where straight up a girl asked me out on a first date and still expected me to pay, and it's not a big deal to me. If I go out on a date, I expect to pay no matter what. I'm a traditional guy in that way, so it doesn't necessarily bother me. But the idea that there are these women out there, and obviously this is just my anecdotal evidence or whatever, but the idea that there's these women out there who go, well, you know, whoever asked for the date should pay for the date. It's like, how often are women asking guys out on a date? For me, it's happened on maybe once or twice in my entire life, and I'm 28, about to turn 30 in a couple of years. It doesn't necessarily happen very often, so it's very, very disingenuous to just go, well, you know, whoever asked for the date should pay for the date. It's like, how often are women asking men out on dates? That's literally a point of contention in the entire dating scene, is the idea that women don't want to go out and shoot their shot. Even though you guys will have a way higher success rate than men would have if you guys shot your shot, you still don't want to do it because you want men to put themselves in a position of where they can be the ones that are potentially rejected in the first place. So
It's all bullshit.
When he sent the receipts and she was like, I'm just asking you to pay for your half, which is very fair and like something I would also do. Like, you need to at least pay for your side. What did he say?
So after, I don't know, after the sent the receipts, everyone's been blocked and we've all moved on with our lives.
So all right, I'm gonna let you guys in on something. Okay, so I went on a date about 3 months ago now. I want to say 3 or 4 months ago. So it was a first date. Me and this attractive lady, she will obviously not be named, but it was an attractive young African American lady. We went out on this date. It was a first date. I asked her out. I chose the place and everything. The bill ended up being about $200, okay? And this is on me. I'm going to take full responsibility for all of this as well. You guys are obviously going to go in the comments and go, what are you doing and whatnot, taking a woman out on a $200 first date or anything. And I want you guys to know, I learned my lesson and it will not happen again. Now, things ended up not going anywhere with this lady, and that's okay. People are not into people all the time, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I understand that, and there's no issue whatsoever. Now, I could have taken since things aren't working out here, I would like for you to pay your half of that $200 bill. Did I do that? No, because that is ridiculous and that is completely fucking stupid. I went on that date with you knowing full well that I was going to pay for the bill. Okay, for me to then be upset that you're not into me or whatever, or like anything like that, and then to just hit you with well, here's the receipt for think about how petty and how ridiculous that looks.
I need you to grow the hell up.
As a side note, I want to tell all the guys out there as well. Listen, guys, if a girl is talking about how, well, you know, there's a lot going on in her life right now, she's just not that into you, okay, bro? Girls typically do not give a shit about what's going on in their life or whatever if they're truly into a guy. So if she's giving you those excuses, do not get upset or anything like that. Just keep it moving. There's a lot of fish in the sea out there. But back to the story that I was, the fact of the matter is, yes, I paid the $200, which will never happen again on a first date, by the way. But I paid the $200 and I kept it moving. She wasn't into me. That's fine. What we're not talking about and what they're not talking about in this is that the lady that was involved in this was upset that dude didn't want to continue dating her. So she was just trying to be petty and go, well, you know, let's split the bill. Like, come on, man. Like, grow the fuck up. The person didn't feel you like that. Move on to the next one.
But I guess my shock is one, like, the men are actually out here doing this. And I owe an apology to the girlies because I have been dismissing your experience, and that's wrong of me. And as much as I like being right, I can admit when I'm wrong. I did not think the men were actually in real life out here doing this.
I thought this was a myth.
I thought it was a myth. I thought
This was like Bigfoot or like Loch Ness Monster.
All right, I'm going to end the video there. You didn't know that the men were out here doing the same thing that women have been doing for generations. So, like, if you don't see the hypocrisy in that, I don't know what to tell you other than, like, you need you need real mental help. I want to close out this video by saying this, guys. Listen, dating is what it is, and don't let people like this or don't take your cues from people like this because they're not living the reality that a lot of people are out here living. They just said a $200 date should be split down the middle because the lady got rejected, essentially. And another issue that I have with this is you can tell here that Taylor Rooks doesn't necessarily agree with Joy Taylor on this
Whatsoever.
And this is an issue that I think I have with a lot of women, in that you guys are just not honest with each other in terms of just like what you guys really believe in. You guys are just so non-confrontational that you guys will just let your friends continue to believe some of the nonsense. You could tell here that Taylor Rooks was kind of like, yeah, I kind of see why he would not be trying to pay for, but because she didn't want to have like an issue or back and forth with Joy Taylor, she didn't necessarily want to just stand her ground. And that's something that a lot of you women need to start doing, especially because, and I think this is the case with a lot of women who are in relationships. One of these people on these podcasts is in a relationship. I'm going to leave you guys to ponder which one. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys anyway. Taylor Rooks is the one that's in a relationship right now, and it's obvious from the way that she actually just kind of processed everything there. Joy Taylor is obviously not in a relationship.
I wonder why.
But for those of you ladies out there who are in successful relationships, you guys need to talk to your sisters out there and give them the game on how they can secure and lock down a guy and what they need to do, because a lot of y'all are going to die alone and it's going to be your fault. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about this whole thing. Are they as crazy sounding to you as they are to me, or do you guys think they're making sense here? As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this video. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I really do appreciate you. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what you heard, thanks for watching the whole video. Consider leaving a comment in the comment section and telling me exactly what you disagreed with. Either way, thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.